2 or 3 days after every period, you should check your breast. Do a self check. Stand in the mirror and just look at your breast. One is usually going to be bigger than the other one. You may find dimples on one that you don't find on the other one. But if you are not familiar with your breast, you're not going to be able to find any differences. 40% of lumps are found during breast exams. If you do not have a period, then check your breast around the same time every month. Do not skip a month. When you get in and out of the shower or bathing, look in the mirror and look at your breast and look to see if you see anything different. Stand in front of the mirror this way and then turn to the side, each side, and look at your breast in the mirror to see if you notice any differences. Now, mammograms are not 100%. They're between 80 and 90% in finding lumps. Now, if you have large breasts and your density is really thick, then it may be difficult for a mammogram to pick up the lump. That's why doctors recommend that you do both, that you get your mammogram starting at the age of 40. Now, it used to be where when you got 60 and 70, not to get your mammograms anymore. And if you look at statistics and information, you're going to be able to find both, to stop having the mammogram, keep having the mammogram, or have the mammogram every 2 years after about 60 or so. But when I was researching for today, I did find where it said to have a mammogram every year. And if you think about it, if you can have cancer at 40, why can't you have breast cancer at 70 or at 80? So my recommendation is going to be to have a mammogram every year. You can also have a mammogram as early as 25 if you have a high incidence of breast cancer in your family. Hello, welcome to Karen's Inquisitive Corner, Chains of Hope. My name is Karen Elizabeth, and I am Patton Jack's baby girl. Thank you so much, you guys, for being a part of this series of Chains of Hope. Today, we're going to go to Knoxville, Tennessee, and we're going to talk with Karen Hodge. Yes, another Karen. And she's going to share with us a little bit about hearing those first words, I have breast cancer. But today we're going to focus on maintenance. How are you maintaining to make sure that possibility it won't come back? And if it comes back, you're going to be able to find it at a very early stage. So let's bring Karen on. Hey, good morning.
Good morning from Knoxville.
Thank you so much for being a part of the show today. I really, really appreciate it. The people that we've had on here have been very open and brave, I feel like, to come on and talk about such a traumatic, challenging, difficult journey that they've had in their life. So tell us, when did you find your cancer?
Well, first of all, Karen, I just want to say thank you so much for having me on here. I can say that this is the first time since I was diagnosed May 10th of 2024 that I have shared my story, I guess, in totality. It's always been just like little snippets, an experience here, an experience there, and things like that. And so this is going to be emotional and very interesting. And I'm just really looking forward to sharing my story. So
right. We just want you to be comfortable. We're sitting at the kitchen table, just having a conversation, and we're all family here. So you said it was 2024 when you found it.
Yes, May 10th of 2024 is when I was actually received the diagnosis, and it was on a Friday. And I went and had my yearly mammogram, as I always do and have since the age of 40. And they found something that looked suspicious, so they sent me to another office, and then they said, gosh, it still looks suspicious. So then I had an ultrasound, and then they quickly turned around and said, we need to go ahead and biopsy this. Literally 2 days later, they called me with the results. And that was on May 10th. And I swear to you, at 11:30 a.m. is when I received the phone call. Like, I remember taking that phone call, sitting on my back porch, and I already knew at that point that it was going to be cancer. Just when you hear the radiologist and physicians talking to you about
Yes.
something that doesn't look
Mhm.
right, you just know. You can see it in their face, you can hear it in their voice,
Sure.
their mannerisms, like you can just see them sinking, and then you start sinking too. And you're holding on for hope, and you're getting onto Dr. Google, and you're like, okay, wait, 1 in 4 and 1 in 8 and one in
Right.
this, one in that.
So at
What
this
are the
point,
chances?
Google is like an enemy because you're on Google and you're reading, things, and your mind is going in
Yes.
all different directions.
Might as well have determined that I'm going to die in,
Exactly.
24
So,
hours.
Karen, they called you and told you over the phone the 4 words: you have breast cancer.
Yes, yes. I just started crying, immediately started crying. And I remember telling my husband, telling my mom, my sister. It was really, really hard. And then I had to figure out how to tell our son. I don't want to tell my son and then have him think that I'm going to die in 6 months. And
Right.
so it was really hard. So we decided to wait to tell him until we knew more specifics, more detail. And so, because I wanted to know for sure that I was going to live, and I wanted to be able to tell him this is what my diagnosis is, this is what my treatment's going to be, this is how long it's going to take, this is what the recovery is going to look like. I want to know for sure, kind of what that percentage rate
Right.
is this going to come back, and what's the likelihood of me surviving? Like, this is what I wanted to be able to share with him before we shared. I just needed that information before I shared with
Sure.
him.
Sure.
It was incredibly small. In fact, I couldn't even feel it myself. It was in my left breast. Like 5 to 10% of the women who are actually diagnosed with breast cancer have this type of breast cancer. And it's incredible. So it's rare, triple positive, and also is a rapid spreader, very aggressive. And so it had to be addressed very, very
Mhm.
quickly.
Yes.
So I literally was diagnosed on May 10th. I actually still have a port in place. We're going to do 6 rounds of a pretty heavy chemo every 21 days. Immediately started losing my hair. Like, it's textbook. Like, it said it on Dr. Google, 14 days, you'll start losing your hair after the first round. And sure enough, I mean, it was like.
So you lost your hair immediately with the chemo. Was
Yes.
that really hard for you?
Yes. I have always been focused on my looks, on my appearance. Like, I loved long hair. Like, I used to be in beauty pageants, and
Most
like
women are.
my hair defined me. I mean, it is who I was. People are like, I love your hair. You have the most beautiful hair, And so it was really long. And I have never, ever, ever had short hair. And so I had it shaved off because I was just losing so much of it so quickly. And by mid-July, I mean, I was bald, bald, bald. And so I bought all these wigs. I'm like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to wear a wig. And I never did. I just wore a bandana, and I color coordinated my bandanas with all of my outfits, and that's what I did.
And looked amazing, by the way. I saw some pictures. Was there another side effect that really, really hit you hard from the chemo?
Yes. So I was very, very lethargic. But another side effect that people don't really know or talk about, I lost my taste.
Yes.
My taste would go for about 14 days, and then it would come back around. I was incredibly constipated. Everybody said, you'll have all of this diarrhea on chemo. That was not the case for me at all. I was constipated for days. I mean, it was awful. And so I just couldn't wait to go to the bathroom. And, but again, it's another symptom that no one ever really talks about. They talk a lot about diarrhea, they talk a lot about hair loss.
Right.
But not constipation. So I was on the complete opposite end of that. 1 year ago this month, I had a lumpectomy. and I had one lymph node removed, and thankfully the cancer was not in my lymph node, so it was isolated into that one tiny tumor. Thank goodness. So they removed the tumor from the lumpectomy, and this is something else that I thought was really interesting, Karen. A lot of people have said you need to have a mastectomy. You got to have a double mastectomy. Like take
Yes.
them both off. And all of the research that my physicians have done and shared with me, along with all the different breast cancer communities that I've been a part of, they typically only encourage lumpectomies now,
Hmm.
because
Interesting.
mastectomies, and obviously too with certain types of cancer, but
Mhm.
your it's your cancer could still come back even if you have a double mastectomy. Kind of depending on your history and genetics and all of that kind of stuff. And so with mine, I all of my genetic testing came back negative. I have no
Okay.
family history of breast cancer at all anywhere in
Mhm.
my family. This was a genetic mutation, and the likelihood of it returning is like that 1 in 8. I have a 1 in 8
Okay.
chance of it returning, just like any other woman would experience,
Sure.
right?
Mhm.
And or another type of breast cancer. And so they suggested lumpectomy. And again, it's a lot more common now than a double mastectomy. And I was actually quite surprised because I'm like, take them both off. I'm gonna be fine. Um, I'm so glad I did it though. Like I mean, this has
Yeah.
been so traumatic. Period.
Sure
This
it has.
process. So
Sure it
I had,
has.
and then my body had to heal a little bit, and then I had to
Mhm.
do 20 rounds of radiation
Oh.
every day, 5 days a week. That was actually the easiest part for me was radiation. Like I was in and out in 10 minutes. Like it's so fast. Like they literally
Really?
lay you down
Okay.
on a table. You have all this radiation zapped into your breast. Um, and, uh, and then you're done. Like 10, like
Mhm.
literally in and out in 10 minutes.
Oh, wow.
I thought the burns would start immediately because I'm thinking, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, radiation is on my breast and
Right.
like the most sensitive skin on my
Right.
body. But the burning, which was pretty mild for me, didn't start until probably around round 14.
Okay.
And so, but it's interesting because it continues to burn even probably about 2 weeks after treatment and 2 weeks after you're done with treatment. So all 20 rounds, and probably about a week and a half after, it was getting redder and redder and redder and
Mhm.
redder. Blistered a little bit, but nothing that was unmanageable. I was still able to wear a sports bra. I used a lot of
Okay.
before to
Mhm.
heal it up,
Mhm.
and then I looked like I had just been in a tanning bed for,
Mhm.
probably about 2 or 3 months after. It was just dark
Oh,
and brown,
wow.
and now it looks normal, but it took a bit for it to get back to normal.
Mhm. So, Karen, after all of this, and now you are cancer free.
Mhm.
Hallelujah. What is your maintenance now?
So I have to take a hormone blocker for the next 5 years.
As we kind of come to a close, how often do you think about the possibility of it coming back?
That's an interesting question, Karen. Like in the beginning, I was so afraid of it returning.
Mhm.
Um, but I just follow the science. And the likelihood, and knock on wood, of it returning is like 2%, 1 or 2%.
Hmm.
So
That's great. That's
like
great.
98.9% that it will not return. And so I'm hoping, that it will not return. I'm doing everything prescribed by my team of doctors. They're
Mhm.
all fantastic. But I definitely don't think about it. I think more about managing symptoms, like with my
Mhm.
medication that I'm on.
Mhm.
Like, so now it's the reverse. The medication that I'm on, it causes a lot of diarrhea. So I'm just like, okay, now I got to take the now,
Okay.
like,
So
how do
that's just the opposite.
am I able to go out to eat? Like, I just want a taco. I just want a piece of pizza. But I can't
Exactly.
because it will.
The Karen that got diagnosed in 2024 and the Karen now, how different are those two Karens?
Oh my gosh, so incredibly different. Obviously, there's a greater appreciation for friends and family, and especially my immediate family and everything that they've been through, because it's not just me going through this, it's all of them.
Mhm.
They've all been so close, so supportive, so kind, so helpful. So just this greater appreciation for the people around me and the love that I have for them, and just making sure that I'm more intentional, reaching out to them and letting them know that I'm there for them like they were there for me. Um, Also, just the importance of living life. I don't work
Yeah.
50 or 60 hours a week anymore. I work 10 or 15. I want to be there for my family. I want to be there for my son. I want to be there for my husband. We've been together for 28 years. And
Congratulations.
yeah, we just want to travel and enjoy life and not have to worry about just stuff,
Sure,
things that
sure.
were things that are just aren't important that we once thought were important. I'm a mental health therapist and I have a private practice here in Knoxville. And what has been beautiful is that I've been able to share this journey with all of my clients, because I couldn't keep it a secret because I was going bald. And there were times when I would cry with them or they would cry with me. And that seems like you're violating all of these boundaries. But this is human nature.
Yes.
This is what
Yes, it is. Mhm.
makes people connect with each other. And
Mhm.
so that's been just as beautiful. My clients have just been amazingly supportive as well. And so just kind. People are so kind. And you just forget that when you're caught up in
Yes.
the hustle and bustle of life. You
Yes.
just forget to slow down and embrace the people who are around you. And so that has what has shifted, or that's what's been the most important thing for me.
Right. And your patients were also able to see your courage and your survival, which helped them, I'm sure, go those extra steps. If she can do it, I can do it. I can survive this. I can get through whatever, depression or mental or whatever they were going through. So I'm sure that you shared your story with them, as you said, but I'm sure that story help them get to where they were also trying to be. Karen,
Yeah.
thank you so very much. You're still just as beautiful as you are when we work together. What would you like to leave with the audience today before we leave?
Um, you know, um, mammograms, get them done every single year. And,
Yes.
Karen, one of the things that I have learned are that I have met a lot of people who are 25, 30 years old who have breast cancer and are finding them through self checks. And so I just can't stress that enough. Hug your family, don't hold grudges. Love yourself, love the people around you, and just enjoy life. It's too short to be bitter and angry, and to focus on all the negative that's going on around us. So just embrace the positive, and just have a good time. Live life.
I would totally agree, because at the end of the day, when you're looking at if I'm going to get up in the morning or if I'm going to make it through this
Right.
cancer, that argument, that disagreement is so minute.
Yeah.
And some of the things you don't even, why were we even mad at each other? What were we even arguing about? You can't even remember, what it was even about. So I 100% totally agree. Well, I
Yeah.
think that you're amazing, Karen. And thank you so much for sharing your story. You're just as pretty as you are when we work together. So
Thanks.
hang in there. And we're going to be praying for you. I'm totally going to be praying for you. And you pray for me. And I'm always going to be here for you. Okay.
Always. Thanks,
All right.
Karen.
Thank you
It was
so
good to
much.
see you.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for joining. This is Karen Elizabeth Patton Jack's baby girl at Karen's Inquisitive Corner. Mwah. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.